Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you an update from the Ridgecrest Police Department, news about foreign money coming in to influence the Clinton presidential campaign, news from China Lake, campaign news, new polls coming out, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake. This is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News Crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. In an update to a story reported yesterday, here's an update from the Ridgecrest Police Department. Yesterday they reported that there had been an assault with a deadly weapon, robbery, and preventing a person from using a wireless device. The person they arrested was 21-year-old Peyton Smith of Ridgecrest. Suspects still being sought include 26-year-old John Buckholz from Ridgecrest and 31-year-old Sadie Hillman from Ridgecrest. And another person, 23-year-old Sequoia Young, is listed as the person of interest, and that they would like to interview that person. In news from the Democrat town hall held last Tuesday, it was a normal town hall. Clinton and Sanders really offered nothing new to share. The town hall came on the same day that a federal judge paved the way for possible future subpoenas by the State Department against Clinton and her longtime aide, Huma Abedin, to obtain personal emails. However, there was one real interesting exchange. The moderator was introducing a person from the audience that wanted to ask Clinton a question about trusting what she says. The person asked the question, and Clinton provided her standard answer. But then the interesting thing happened. The moderator expanded the question to a comedy clip used on a late-night TV program. In that program, the comedian showed Clinton being interviewed by a CBS News anchor about the trust issue and lying. Clinton answered a very vague sidestep answer by saying, "I have always tried to tell the people the truth." And she even goes on, expanding that spin with more information, stating she has never intentionally misled anyone. After the moderator showed Clinton the video clip, he asked her if she'd like to reply to the clip and criticism as to why she just won't say she didn't lie about anything. Clinton's answer was, no. So in standard lawyerese, she offered no comment. Next, I was waiting to hear her declare the Fifth Amendment protection, but she didn't. Clinton told her supporters that they had nothing to fear from the controversy, which she said was part of a long succession of episodes that turned out to be nothing. She said, "I am well aware of the drip, drip, drip. I have been in the public arena for 25 years. The facts are that every single time somebody has hurled these charges against me, which they have done, it has proved to be nothing." That was her Clinton's comments. Anyway, the town hall was otherwise courteous and down to earth, Sanders being the one that can really get to the audience to relate to his stories. And Clinton tried to get personal with the audience, but still can't get to the point to just be herself. At least it seems that way. Her canned answers are too strong. So they head to South Carolina election where Clinton holds a large lead over Sanders. In the race for Democrats, we get this report from Breitbart News and Newsmax. Rupert Murdoch, owner of Fox News, attended a $2,700 a plate fundraiser Tuesday in London for Democrat presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. It was hosted by one of the world's wealthiest and most successful women executives. Billed as the ultimate power party, the event was held at the South Kingston home of 50-year-old Natalie Massenet, the online entrepreneur whose net worth has been estimated by Forbes at $90 million. I've heard she's planning to get hundreds of thousands of dollars for Hillary, a source told Breitbart. She's aiming for $1 million. Clinton will not be attending the event, but daughter Chelsea Clinton will be there. Besides Murdoch, others expected to be on hand are actor George Clooney and his wife Amal. Hillary Clinton's campaign is expected to gain access to a network of wealthy American bankers living in London. According to the report, the group organizing the event is called London for Hillary, formed in 2013. The group seeks to build a comfortable and influential group of UK-based American voters who believe she is the right person to lead the Democratic Party in 2016. Stephanie Stewart, the event's organizer, told Breitbart that she supports Clinton because she is smart, determined, and dedicated to democratic values, and for being a strong progressive who can move America forward. So I guess our presidential campaigns now have to include money flowing in from other countries too. In news about the campaign polls, a whole bunch of polls came out yesterday and today. As we head to Super Tuesday, which is just 5 days away, all the polls are coming out. Super Tuesday could further shrink the candidate pool. As of the current polls, Trump is leading by respectable margins in Georgia, Massachusetts, Vermont, North Carolina, Michigan, Illinois, West Virginia, and Ohio, even beating Kasich in his home state. Cruz shows a 1-point lead in New Mexico and in Texas, his home state. On the Democrat side, Clinton is leading all states except West Virginia and Vermont, which is Sanders' home state. Sanders and Clinton are also tied in Massachusetts. Sanders yesterday vowed to fight on, but for the Republicans, Texas is the biggest prize available. The polls are showing a closing of the lead of Cruz over Trump. There is even one poll out today showing the race is a dead heat. Texas is important for 2 reasons. First, it is Cruz's home state. No one wants to get beat in their home state. Second, there are a lot of delegates available. So everyone wants to gain those delegates. Pundits are already saying that if Cruz loses Texas, his home state, then he is just about done. So what is Super Tuesday, you ask? Super Tuesday, March 1st, 2016, is the biggest single day for presidential candidates to receive delegates. Elections are held in 12 states and 1 U.S. territory. The day is a turning point in most presidential election years, typically serving as the key indicator as to who the nominees will be from each party. The states involved include Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, and Virginia will hold primaries for both parties as well. Alaska will hold its Republican caucus, while American Samoa will caucus for Democrats. Colorado will caucus for both parties, though only the Democrats are choosing a candidate. Republicans in Colorado have opted to select delegates only and then let those delegates choose which candidate to support at the National Convention. In all, 595 Republican delegates, about 25% of the total number, are available on Super Tuesday. Republicans need 1,237 delegates to win the party's nomination. Democrats need 2,383. There are about 1,004 Democrat delegates available on March 1st. The states involved in Super Tuesday also represent about 130 so-called superdelegates. These are Democrats who are not pledged to support the winner from their states. These are generally seen as the establishment delegates. They vote the way the party wants them to vote. The people's vote means nothing to these superdelegates. The vast majority of superdelegates have already pledged support for Clinton. Now stay with us for news from China Lake when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. In news from the Naval Air Weapons Station in China Lake, we get this announcement. They are offering petroglyph escort training on March 4th and 5th. Naval Air Weapons Station China Lake will provide training for current, whose badges are expiring, and new guides to conduct tours of Little Petroglyph Canyon. It's a National Historic Landmark located on board the station. The training will take place March 4th and 5th at the Mannering Museum. The March 4th class is set for 6 to 8 p.m. and will be for those guides who need to renew their escort badges. The March 5th class, set for 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., will be for those taking the class for the first time or for those who do not have current escort badges. You must be a U.S. citizen to become a command-approved petroglyph tour guide. Training covers environmental, security, and administrative issues related to the tours of Little Petroglyph Canyon and the installation. The training is required to become command-approved petroglyph tour guides. Volunteers who escort hundreds of visitors each year out to this cultural treasure. They are responsible for protecting the site and the security of the base, while educating personnel on this National Historic Landmark. Command-approved guides can volunteer for the types of tours they are interested in. Mannering Museum tours, private public tours, school tours, as long as they volunteer to assist with 2 tours per year. All tours are required to have 2 command-approved guides. After the in-class training on Saturday, base personnel will take the class up to Little Petroglyph Canyon. Volunteers are encouraged to dress appropriately with hiking boots or closed shoes with good tread as required for regular tours. Also bring sunscreen, hat, plenty of water, food, a car in good working condition, and a full tank of gas. To register for either of the classes, call the Matarango Museum at 760-375-6900 or email full legal name, date of birth, citizenship, phone number, and email address to at matmus@matarango.org by March 3rd. Class size is limited, so register as early as possible. Now it's time for the 121st KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Here's today's topic: Clinton receiving political financial help from people outside of the U.S. Should money from outside the U.S. be allowed to influence our presidential campaigns? Well, this editorial is going to be filled with questions. Questions for which I have no answers. So I will invite others to help enlighten me in this one. Earlier in this newscast, I reported about a group raising funds to help Hillary Clinton run for the White House. That in itself is no big deal. But this report is a report of a group in the UK raising funds to help Clinton. But I'm confused by the report. The group organizing the event is called London for Hillary, formed in 2013. The group seeks to build a formidable and influential group of UK-based American voters who believe she is the right person to lead the Democratic Party in 2016. Again, the story calls them a group of UK-based American voters. Well, why are they UK-based? Why aren't they US-based? And just how will the funds enter the U.S.? And how will the funds be spent and accounted for in the U.S.? What do these UK-based American voters gain by making donations in the U.S.? This is really confusing to me. If they care so much about the U.S., why are they basing or living in the UK? Is there some tax benefit for them to live there instead of in the U.S.? I do not understand this. I will assert that we are a free country and we can live wherever we want, and I don't have a problem with them living in another country. But I do have a problem with them attempting to influence change here that they are not being subjected as to the results of that change. But they are trying to influence the way of life here while not living here. To me, it would be like a group of people that work for some company, say in Canada, and then they decide to help raise the wages of a competitor company in the U.S. Why should they be allowed to do this? If these supposed UK-based American voters feel the need to change our way of life here, why don't they just do it over there in the UK? And again, my real complaint is, why are they UK-based? Why aren't they US-based? If they care enough to donate to our presidential campaigns, why don't they live here? So, they will be impacted by whoever they support if they win. Instead, they choose to hide and shield themselves from the impacts of U.S. control by living out of the country. Now, I don't know what benefit they get by being Americans living in another country, and I'm sure that some may have a pure legitimate reason to be Americans living abroad, whether it be work, health, or whatever. But if they receive some financial gain by living abroad that they wouldn't get if they resided in the U.S., and are only living abroad to get that financial gain, then I have a problem with them. I question their allegiance to the United States. If they are living somewhere with exclusive reason for financial gain, then they should be restricted from sending money to the U.S. to influence our laws. The host of events The host of the event owns a home valued at $28 million. That's a $28 million home in the UK. Why not live in a $28 million home in the U.S.? Again, this editorial is not to challenge an American's right to live wherever they want, but it is a challenge that if they are choosing to live outside the U.S., then they shouldn't then try and meddle in our campaigns by donating millions of dollars or even offering personal endorsements of a candidate. These are U.S. elections. Heck, we may as well have the Queen of England donate and make her endorsement as well. Then I wonder how these UK-based American voters actually vote. I suppose they could get an absentee ballot and vote that way. And do they actually vote? Or do they just send money to influence change in a country they choose to not even live in? Hey, if they care so much about us, why don't they just donate to the U.S. directly? Provide those millions of dollars to lower our deficit. That would help the country. Seems our country was founded by us fighting against similar controls by people outside of the U.S. But back then, they were loyalists and patriots. Just which category do these UK-based American voters fall into? In conclusion, I need someone to explain why we have UK-based American voters. Why aren't they US-based American voters? Again, I am not questioning their right as free Americans to live wherever they want. I question their choice to be based somewhere outside of the U.S. and still want to influence the U.S. I'm Tom Whitting, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Now stay with us for weather and sports after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane with the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, the strong storm system that brought significant weather to the Gulf Coast through the Mid-Atlantic will continue to push northward into Canada today. Snow and gusty winds are expected across portions of the Appalachians, Great Lakes, and New England today, where winter weather advisories and a few winter storm warnings are in effect. Blowing snow could result in hazardous travel in these locations. Temperatures across the nation: Carolinas at 56, Georgia at 50, Arkansas at 51, northern Texas at 49, Arizona at 75, and Los Angeles at 78. And for us locally, tonight, mostly clear with a low around 42, east wind 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny with a high near 78, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 43, south-southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny with a high near 77, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 43, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 76, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 44, west wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And Monday, sunny with a high near 75, west wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
Thanks, Lane. And now here's sports with Tom Hecht.
And a very pleasant early Thursday evening. Let's talk about college basketball from last night. Number 9, Arizona loses to Colorado in Boulder. Josh Scott, the senior, had 26 points, put on a great second half show to help down the Wildcats. Now, Arizona, the number 9 team in the country, as mentioned, also number 2 in the Pac-12. They have their work cut out for them on Saturday. They've got to go play against a very good Utah team. That's a tough road trip. You go to Colorado and Utah. Now, number 5, Xavier last night defeated number 1 Villanova 90-83. That game played in Cincinnati. Xavier right now looked very, very good. They're in the top 10 in all categories. They're a very good offensive team, probably flying under the radar, and we're only a couple weeks away from starting to think about the big dance. The big Final Four coming in April. It'll be a great basketball season when it comes to the playoffs. Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State. These are other top 25 games. Houston beats University of Central Florida. Marquette beats Creighton. Michigan has a good win at Northwestern last night. South Carolina beats Tennessee. Wisconsin and Iowa. Wisconsin bests Iowa by 5 points at games played in Ames. That was a great comeback by Wisconsin in the second half. Now, Oregon in the Pac-12 down Washington State. And also Notre Dame beats Wake Forest. Notre Dame right now number 14 in all of the land. NBA, the Grizzlies beat the Lakers. The Lakers now 11 wins and 50 losses. The Golden State Warriors beat Miami 118-112. They're now 51-5 on the year. Right now, the Golden State Warriors are on record, on pace to set a record for the best record ever recorded by an NBA team. And they've got the schedule in front of them, I think, in their favor. They just got done with a 6-game road trip. How's that after the All-Star break? They lost their first game back. Portland just shot the lights out of the ball. But since then, Golden State has dominated everybody. All right, the Cavaliers get a win last night in Charlotte. LeBron James, 23 points. James only had 12 points in his last game, his lowest total ever as a Cavalier. The Pacers beat the Knicks 108-105. Boy, since they fired Derek Fisher, things have been horrible. Kurt Rambis now 2-7 as the head coach there. The Pistons over the 76ers. Sixers the worst record in basketball. The Bulls beat the Wizards, and the Thunder has a good win over the Mavericks, 119-103. 4 losses in a row for the Wizards. I mentioned they got beat by the Bulls. To me, Washington the most disappointing team this year in the NBA. NHL, Canadians, Bruins, Sharks all get wins. And the Saracoso baseball team on the road today, they'll take on Antelope Valley. We'll let you know tomorrow what happens. On Saturday, Saracoso has their first conference home opener. They'll hopefully defeat Chaffee. They'll play Chaffee at 12 noon. That is the start of the conference season. Right now, Saracoso off to one of their best starts in a long time. They're currently 7 wins and only 3 losses with a game today at Antelope Valley. That's your sports for this Thursday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. Also, KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk, coming up next.